Points. Hello, and welcome back to the Broad Points podcast. I am your host, the broad that points, the broad with the points. It's me, Tyler, the lady. I know it has been a couple of weeks. Thank you for your patience if you have been waiting for this next episode to come out live. I'm not going to lie to you. I have had some technical difficulties with my computer. I don't know what it was about my computer, but there was just something where it didn't want to complete its updates. And so it was just like not completing. It had, I don't even know how many updates, which is crazy because I restart it often, I would say. And so, to not have all of these updates just complete themselves and like, let's just be done with it was wild to me. It took me, honestly, like 3 different days. My computer just kept freezing. It was absolutely bananas. So here we are. A couple weeks later, we made it through Thanksgiving. If you're in America, we do Thanksgiving in November. I believe Canada does theirs in October. Every day is a great day to be thankful. I hope that you have had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and thank you so much for your patience and for being here, for showing support and listening to this podcast with me. It's great to have you. I always feel like I'm talking directly to you. Whoever you are, I'm talking to you. And so welcome back. Happy Mindfulness Monday. We're getting this one in on a Monday. And, last night was a full moon. I don't know if you're Joe Dirt fans, but anytime I think of a full moon or just the moon in general, I think of Joe Dirt longing for his parents and wondering if when he was looking up at the moon, if his parents were looking up at that same moon. We're all looking at the same moon, you guys, unless you're on a different planet, which I don't know anybody that is. There's no news reports of it. Planets are far away. If you're here on this planet we call Earth, we're looking up at the same moon. We only have one moon that revolves around this planet. And on the full moon, it is when the moon is not in the Earth's shadow, right? We're able to see the full illumination or reflection of the sun off of the moon. And it really is, a time for reflection, right? The moon reflects the sun off of its surface. We are allowed to reflect on ourselves. Some people like to set specific dates and then reflect on their journey at those times. If you don't have a date or you can't find a rhythm or a rhyme, you can choose to follow the full moon cycle. Not because you have to be all woo-woo into the moon, but it's something that always happens, right? It's something that is always occurring once a month. We get the new moon, which is like no moon in the sky, and we get a full moon. And so allowing ourselves to operate off of, a naturally occurring process rather than, forcing ourselves to do stuff at a certain time, it's just going with the flow, right? And reflecting on where we are in life, how far we've come, what we've accomplished so far. We are ending, this year. We're just a couple of weeks away from being at the end of 2024. And so, reflection is a great thing to implement, especially towards the end of the year, because it gives us the chance to course correct, right? And maybe we don't need to. Maybe we're just going straight and we're still going straight and everything is all copacetic. That's fantastic. Give yourself a pat on the back, right? How many times do we accomplish these huge things, or we take so many steps in the right direction or down our chosen path, and we don't even celebrate about it. Right? We deserve to celebrate. We deserve to celebrate our wins, right? We deserve to celebrate our losses. We deserve to celebrate where we are right now. And by celebrating, by correcting if we need to, by reflecting, it really allows us connection. Connection with ourselves, right? Our deeper thoughts, our deeper purpose, our mission, of where are we going, right? Who do we want to be? They're all questions to connect with ourselves and to connect with our journey. And so the full moon last night was absolutely beautiful. It was so bright in the sky. I love anytime the full moon is out because you just get such light in this world. And, metaphorical or not, actually in real life, it's a perfect time to go for a night hike. I didn't get one in yesterday, but I did look up at the trail. Somebody had actually gotten injured on the trail earlier that day, so I think it honestly might have scared some of the full moon hikers off. From time to time, we do see some people on our mountain that's right outside of our house that they get injured. They maybe aren't as prepared as they needed to be. Maybe like physically they weren't as prepared as they needed to be, or they didn't bring water. You guys, water. We have to bring it with us everywhere we go. We have to drink it. It really does sustain our well-being. It helps support our digestive function. Water is so important. It helps with our cooling function of our body, and it's not even hot here anymore. I say that, and some of the people up in like Alaska or Seattle where I used to work and live are like, it's hot down there, because every now and then we'll get a 70-degree day, but we're firmly in the 60s now, and it gets a little breezy. There's not the humidity trapping in the heat here. It really is. It's dry. And so when it's a dry heat, it's a dry heat. And when it's cold, it's a dry cold. So, just allow this time here, reflection, correction, connection, and then completion. Completion of the trail, completion of your journey, just completion of the year even, right? So, allow this light to guide you. Allow this light to tell you where you want to go. And with that, we will jump in to the fundamental phrase for the week, because it just ties in so perfectly with the moon, right? It is: doing is work. Being is effortless. Yeah, doing versus being, right? Do is to perform. Right? You're putting on an act. You're forcing yourself to do something. Be or being, it's simply to exist. It's to not question yourself. It's to live authentically. It's to live in flow state. Allow yourself to just flow and be rather than do. Right? There's so many times when we're putting on an act, right? To perform is to put on an act, to put on a mask and to put your head down and to muscle through it, right? And it is definitely one way to live. A lot of stuff gets done because people are just doing, but then it can be so much harder, honestly, right? Work. Right? Who really just wants to work, right? Being can be so much more effortless. It really can just allow you to live in the moment and to trust your intuition. Intuition? What is intuition? Intuition means that there is no need for conscious reasoning. Right? It's instinctive. And I'm not going to lie, conscious reasoning for me comes up from time to time in places that I don't want it and I don't need it. Like, I will feel something, I will feel that I want something, and then all of a sudden my thoughts, you could call them intrusive thoughts, they sneak in and they tell me, Tyler, do you really want to do that? If you do that, this could happen, and this could happen, and that could happen, and bang, boom, bing. Oh my gosh, it can be so exhausting. The conscious reasoning or overthinking even, that can occur in our minds. And I honestly, for myself, I've noticed that I want to trust my instincts more. I don't want to just overthink every single thing I do, because a lot of the times it leads me to not wanting to do it at all. Right? I find so much withdrawal from my conscious thoughts and conscious reasonings that just really talk myself out of it. And we are our worst enemy. We're also our best friend. We have to remind ourselves, right? And I say have to because it is like for survival. Like, we need to do this. We have to stop ourselves from time to time. I can't remember what I was just doing recently, and I could feel my overthinking starting up. And I remember just in my head going, wait a minute, why are we doing this? We don't need to do this right now. We don't need to overthink this. We know what we want. We know what we're feeling. We know that rather than battling against these thoughts to try and get it done, like, we could just stop. Like, just stop it. Hey, friend, voice, internal monologue in our head. Choose a different channel. Right? Like, allow ourselves to sit down, look in the mirror at that person or that voice and say, like, how is this benefiting us? What is this really doing? Is this keeping us safe? Or is it just pushing us further and further away from our goals? Right? We have so many things in life that we want to accomplish. So many different things that we can do in this world with this life that we're blessed with. And overthinking can be one of the hardest things to get over. The first step, you guys, of anything that we encounter is always awareness. It's just recognizing when it's coming up. And once we're aware of what's happening, right, we can see how often it's happening. Maybe, again, whose voice is that? It might not even be your voice that's telling you to not do it. It could be somebody else's voice that's been programmed into your head that told you to, never go jumping off of a cliff, right? Well, what if that cliff is over a deep body of water and you want to go, dive off of that? Like, it's all possible. It just depends on our goals. It depends on what we're doing. And me personally, I'm not going to lie, I am a little bit afraid of heights. We were talking about doing a trail with a ladder this weekend. And it reminded me of when I think I might have been my 21st birthday. I went ziplining, and the zip line was fine. Like, the going down and like just hanging from, a rope or a cable probably, to swing down from tree to tree. Like, that was the best time. The hardest part for me was literally climbing the ladders. And I remember just like my arms and my legs just kind of like seizing up and shaking as I was trying to climb these ladders to get to each platform to then be able to have this like inflow experience. And I don't know if you subscribe to Paramount Plus, but there is this new show on there called Landman with Billy Bob Thornton. Oof, I am a huge Billy Bob Thornton fan. I have loved him for forever. He is just killing it in this show. I have got to say, his character in this show just absolutely cracks me up. But they're working on all of these oil rigs down in Texas, and you see these guys just climb up so quickly, up these giant ladders to do all of this work. Not to zip line off and like have a good time. No, they're like doing work at these extreme heights. And while I was watching the show in one of the episodes, I was just like, wow, that is not me climbing ladders. Like even like step stools or climbing on the counters, like I get a little freaked out, like jumping down, like is my knee gonna bust through? Like, I get all freaked out, and it's all in my head. Like I know it's all in my head. And so, that's me doing, me really thinking about it, putting on an act of I can do this, I can make this happen. And, instead of just being a part of it, being a part of the ladder, trusting myself, right? And I think, honestly, that's what it boils down to, at least for me anyways. You can always check in with yourself and see what it is for you, but it's trusting myself. It really is trusting my intuition, trusting my instincts, to just allow myself to be, to just not second guess, to just simply be. And this last weekend, we went to a play at the CV Repertoire Theater. I love the theater, you guys. I grew up loving movies, and then getting to experience live theater and live musicals has just always blown my mind. I love, to go out and see a performance. And this weekend we saw The 39 Steps, and it is a comedy mystery, I guess you would call it. And this play was insane. There were only 4 actors, and 3 actors and 1 actress, and then over 150 characters, all played by these 4 people. And it just blew Matt and I's mind, the idea of switching all of these different costumes and all of these different props, and, allowing yourself to go from one thing to another thing to another thing, sometimes without even going off stage. Like there were times when they had split costumes and they would just rotate and they would be a different person. And sometimes they'd be talking to someone else, and sometimes they were literally just talking to themselves. And so, to switch back and forth, it was absolutely mind-blowing. Such an amazing performance. If you're in the desert, I absolutely recommend going to see it. I am positive that the 39 Steps is being, put on in other places. Check your local theater. Honestly, supporting live acts, it means so much. Like I know, I can't say for a fact because I don't know the people in this area. I don't know how much these theaters, gross in their earnings, but typically actors and actresses aren't paid very well. Live performance actors and actresses, they're not compensated fairly. We've got all these Hollywood yahoos, which if you're a Hollywood yahoo, good for you. I'm happy for you and your success and your financial success. Like that's awesome. These people who are on stage, they don't really get the same treatment, and we've been really blessed these last couple times of going to the theater that we have been so close. And I have never been an up close person. Like when we would go when I was younger, when we would go when I was in high school, we would take the Metro bus from Burien into downtown Seattle, and we would sit up, it was still a smaller theater, but we were up higher, a big class of kids, like we were definitely up a little ways. And so these last couple of times of being up close and being able to see the entire stage and everyone's facial expressions, right? Physical comedy, just, oh my gosh, it absolutely changes the whole performance. And the 39 Steps, these actors and actresses was so amazing with their physical comedy, and to be able to see it almost like I was right there with them was next level, right? It was just absolutely amazing. And I mean, I was talking with Matt afterwards about, we have no idea how they could do that. And then I started thinking about this fundamental phrase, right? Doing is work. And sure, they might be doing, and it is their work, but also being is effortless, right? We talk about method actors, for example, right? They really get into the character, right? And to be a character, instead of doing a character, instead of performing a character, putting it on, to actually be them. I could see the effortlessness in their performance. Both acts of their performance, it seemed effortless. The comedy was hysterical. And, to see them just crushing all these lines and just nonstop. Like, it wasn't a lot of lag time in between. It was Matt called it a dense play, because there was just so much happening. There was so much movement. It was absolutely insane. I loved it so much. So shout out to the Coachella Valley Repertoire Theater, because that was an amazing performance. They continue to put on just such wonderful shows. And for you not in the desert, check your local listings. Check your local theaters. Let's support live performance. They don't get any, calling off for a line. They don't get another cut. They don't get another take. It's all happening in front of you. For better or worse, it's all happening right in front of you. And I think that's truly what makes it so magical. So I love theater. I love live music. I love supporting anybody that I can that is just living their dreams, maybe they're not getting paid handsomely. Maybe they're not getting paid what they deserve, but their dream, right? I was reading through their credits, and it said that all of them had gone to school for this. It's been, part of their whole lives. They're living their dreams, right? And allow yourself to live your dreams without overthinking and over-questioning and talking yourself out of it. Allow yourself to find that trust. Allow yourself to live the life that you want. Allow yourself to live your dreams. Right? And again, we are coming up on the holidays. It is about that time where the holidays are coming up. And maybe you need to give a gift for a man, for a woman, for a child. Guess what? Zero Shoes has it all. Minus pets, right? You can't get pet stuff from them, but if you've got a man or a woman or a child, they've got all the different sizes. Anybody can wear Zero Shoes. They're so inclusive. If you would like to buy some Zero Shoes and simultaneously pay me while you're purchasing those, you can use my Zero Shoes affiliate link. It is zeroshoes.com/go/Tyler the Lady. And I have been putting up some recipes on my Patreon as well. If you want to follow me on Patreon, you can do that. If you would like to subscribe and get some recipes for yourself to forever have access to, you can do that as well. It is patreon.com/Tyler the Lady. All together, you guys. There's no ifs, ands, buts, or spaces anywhere in that. And finally, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this here podcast. From time to time, we are going to experience some technical difficulties. From time to time, we're going to go out of town. And so maybe the episode doesn't come out on the day you thought it did. But if you subscribe, you'll always know when there's a new episode for you to tune into. So don't forget, subscribe. And also, you guys, share. Sharing is caring. This is how we grow more ladybugs. This is how we build this community. We talk about it. All we do is talk about it. That is sharing, right? Sharing our passions with the world just really allows for more connection. You know, if somebody else is also into the same thing as you, oh my gosh, now you have something to talk about. And, you know, a lot of things can be divisive in this world. And so to have some things to connect over, it's really important. So don't forget to share. And if you would like to follow me legally, you can on social media. You can find me at Tyler the Lady or at Broad Points. And if you want to email me, maybe you want to talk about coaching. Maybe you want to just send me an email with your reflection on the full moon or your viewings on the full moon. What do you think about the full moon, right? Let me know. Email me. broadpointspodcast@gmail.com. Now, one more time to wrap it up for this episode with that fundamental phrase for the week. Doing is work. Being is effortless.